My name is Booth. I did my project on artificial intelligence effect on the job market and what and like a deeper dive into public perception to kind of give this a little bit of background of how this relates to me. I currently work as a campus recruiter at a consulting firm. So at the beginning of every year, in like January or February, we do forecasts of how many people we want to hire um, in the following cycle. So obviously the job market's not great right now. You would expect this past year that we hired less people, which we did in the past year, but we the amount of people we hired for like business tech implementation solutions did not decrease as much as previous years. And it, my managers attributed that to like AI and the popularization, and everybody wants AI tools and they want to optimize their workforce with AI to cut costs and drive efficiency. So that's how this kind of relates to me. So table of contents is pretty consistent with everybody else. I'm not going to spend time going through this one by one. So my introduction, the arrival of AI signifies a pretty big shift in business evolution. Amid AI's prominence, there's questions about how it's going to impact the labor market. And my research explores the relationship between AI and job security, examining how media narratives and potential impacts on various professions. Excuse me. My problem statement: due to the increased prevalence of AI in the corporate landscape, what are potential consequences of AI on job security in the workforce? My research was aimed on finding out how online articles portray AI in relation to various occupations and how valid those portrayals are to realistically forecast job security. So a little bit of background. I didn't want to get like too deep into it. I practiced this presentation on the basis of having 10 minutes, so I dumbed things down a lot. That's 10 or 15 minutes, so I dumbed things down a lot. But AI has been conceptualized since early computer science. With the last 4 or 5 years, there's been an increase in the ability of the computational power that we're able to produce with like the specialized hardware. So there's been a increase in technology with like semiconductors and chips that have exponentially grown AI's capabilities in the last few years. Of course, there was the popularization of AI in the public eye with ChatGPT last year when OpenAI released their first iteration in November. I believe right now it's on the 4th. 3.5 is a bit available to the public. 4 you got to pay for. So if anybody, my data was gathered through a deep dive into what was publicly available, what articles were publicly available. And I'll come back to the slide, but so this is kind of my article master. So each article, I'm going to go through those, was given an identifying number that will come into play with the heat map I'm going to show next. The title, the site name, the link, what kind of article it was, whether it was a blog, a news article, a white paper, an informational article, which I defined as something that's not a blog. It's like factual, but it's not like it's a company like McKinsey or Deloitte putting it out. And then also looked at what if the article was published before or after the release of ChatGPT. And then going back to the slide, the second part of my project was to look at each article, see what the contents of it were. So I'm going to say the word article a lot, and I apologize for that. It sounds fake to me too as well right now. But in each article, I looked at what occupations it listed and how they were portrayed. So going to the heat map, I'm gonna move. Can I move this a little bit? Okay, cool. That's gonna be fine. But in this heat map, you can see that there are three categories. If the article said the occupation was going to be irreplaceable, it goes in here. If it was going to say it was going to be augmented or partially replaceable in some way, it was going to increase efficiency but not take that job, that's in the middle. And then if it was completely going to be replaced, that's at the end here. And then these numbers on the far left for you guys are every article that was mentioned for the occupation, whether the listed occupation was a job, a function. Some articles just said like administrative or IT, or a skill like bookkeeping is up there. Yeah. Then you have the total number of, call them votes, or articles referenced for each. What percentage of the total articles said the job was irreplaceable? What percentage said they would be completely replaced? And then this last column, titled agreement, is formulated. So if one of these two columns, the percentage of irreplaceable or completely replaced, was above 50%, there was some sort of agreement generally. So then it would populate yes. If both of those columns were below 50%, there was not any kind of agreement, and it would be populated no. So using this data, I'm going to put this back. Sweet. Using this data, I looked further into the three jobs for each irreplaceable and will be replaced to see if those designations were warranted. So the three jobs for irreplaceable were also these three were the most mentioned or had the highest number for irreplaceable and will be replaced. Three for irreplaceable were lawyers, creative artists, and psychologists. And then will be replaced was customer service or retail positions, accountants, and then data entry positions. And I'm going to go through each of these. I'm going to go through each of these in a little bit of greater detail. So irreplaceable positions. Lawyers were mentioned in 18 articles. 12 of them said it would not be replaced by AI. My further research that I did concluded that, and you'll see this pattern, it's more likely to be augmented. This is because on one hand, you have all the casework that lawyers do. That requires a lot of nuance, which AI is not currently great with. On the flip side, you have things like document creation, standard form filling, research that can be delegated to AI. But that's more paralegal work. So it's not necessarily lawyers who are at risk, it's more the legal support staff. Moving down, creative artists, they were mentioned 13 times. 8 articles of those 13 said they wouldn't be replaced. Again, my further research concluded that it would be augmented. There are already AI tools for content creation and image creation. DALL-E, also released by OpenAI, is a tool. Adobe and Canva have their generative AI tools. The argument is more for ethical considerations. On one hand, an original artist can take the works he's already created or she's already created and train an AI model to create more works at a faster pace. On the other hand, somebody else can do that, and it could be forgery. And then lastly, psychologists and psychiatrists mentioned in 8 articles. All 8 said they wouldn't be replaced by AI. Once again, more likely to be augmented. The thing I found in my data collection with psychologists is that people believe that to help humans, you need to have a human experience, which makes sense, true. But AI can help in being more efficient in diagnosing patients. There was actually a framework laid out by in a journal called Frontiers of Psychology. They took a survey and they took an audio and video interview and trained AI to find like psychological markers that would drive diagnosis, not like autonomously. It would be in conjunction with a human psychologist, but it would make things faster. Moving on to the will be replaced positions. Customer service positions mentioned in 18 articles, 13 saying it would be replaced. Again, with the other three, it's more likely to be augmented. There are just certain customer-facing tasks that AI can't do right now. Chatbots are a really good example of AI. A lot of websites have chatbots on for frequently asked questions, but there's a scope of what that chatbot can do and help with. Anything beyond that scope, it requires somebody to be on call to answer those questions. Accountants and data entry are pretty similar. Accountants, they were mentioned in 14 articles, 11 saying it would be replaced. My research generally agreed with this. And the reason behind that was accounting is something where there's like pretty strict guidelines of what you can and cannot do. Not even just within an organization, but with the government. So once an AI is trained on how to do that, that structure allows things to be delegated to it pretty efficiently. Data entry, similar. Once you train an AI of this is the data I want, this is how I want it to be organized, it seems that it's data entry when humans do it is very cost heavy, very time heavy. I can attest to that with my data gathering and plugging everything in. Once an AI is trained of this is the data we want, this is where we want to plug it in, how we want to plug it in, it's something that can be delegated pretty easily. And that can also lead to like AI giving you real-time data analytics. I did not. I should have. I need to hit the 100-hour mark with the project. So in conclusion, the capabilities of AI, they're just at the beginning. They're just going to increase now. There's going to be more business processes that are able to be augmented and become more efficient in the future. And as we saw, even what the public thinks is, or what the media thinks is irreplaceable by AI, there's parts of those jobs that can be replaced. And to kind of round it out with this study that jobs, so almost a fifth of jobs have at least 50% of their tasks exposed to large language models when considering current and future capabilities. So my acknowledgements, I want to thank Dr. Otto for your help during my entire project. Appreciate you. And then Dr. Scala and Dr. Hahn for the entire supply chain management program and all of my professors whom I've taken classes with over the last couple of years. Seriously appreciate all the hard work you guys put into not only the program, but like your specific classes. I know I learned a lot and am hoping to leverage what I've learned in the future. And
any questions?
yes.
Do you happen to know this for supply chain
management? So there, if I had to guess, I don't remember exactly what like specific job, if there was one that came up, but if I had to guess, it would be in that augmented increase efficiency pile. As we've learned, there's like in this program, there's a lot of there's a good amount of focus on data analytics, with Dr. Scale's class and a couple other classes. So like with those kinds of things, AI is pretty useful. With other kinds of things, yeah. Yes.
Gas and then robots.
I was gonna say bots are-
Yeah.
Hopefully on this.
One of the things, one of the occupations in my thing is warehouse employees. Trying to find it. Or maybe it's manufacturing. Maybe I'm misremembering that. Yeah, manufacturing is 7 for 7 will be replaced. So yeah. Yes. Sorry? One more time.
Demand planning.
Demand planning. Not specifically.
Cause I found it interesting, cause like. We use systems to generate, like, we can design statistical forecast models based on like actual, that can like predict what we're gonna use next. And like that kind of feeds numbers like into a system, and if you don't change it, it'll signal those numbers to production, but it's like not always right, so you need that human to go in to cleanse those numbers. To make sure that it's sending like a actual like fair and reasonable forecast of production, so they just don't make it into a thing. So that's all
I don't think demand planning is specifically on the chart.
Yeah, I do have a
Yeah.
comment.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting study. So I noticed that you have about 60 articles.
I had 61 yet.
Yeah, 61. This is a very, I believe it's a pretty hot topic.
Yeah.
So I assume that there would be a lot more than this.
So I
What
would,
is, well, my question, what is your sampling? What is the sampling strategy?
yeah, so pretty much I used any and all articles I could find. I did this data gathering part for about a month, and at some point I just kept cycling through the same articles. I just kept finding the same article again.
It's part of what usually is in Google, or what's your?
Oh, yes,
population,
sorry.
What's your
It
engine,
was-
what's your criteria, what's keywords,
Yeah.
sort of, and how did you get arrive at 61?
Yeah. So, with this part of it,
Yeah.
I was using Google to find my articles. I was, using keywords like, AI taking jobs or AI not automation, stuff like that. With the second part of it, the further research I did to corroborate this or disprove it, I was maybe looking at journal articles. Does that answer your question? Yes.
Other question?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I was actually sad about the account. I work in accounting department, senior accountant.
Yeah.
My question is like the level of work that we do in the accounting department is different. So what junior accountant does, senior accountant does, the CPA does is different. So you do financial analysis, you do just simple data entry.
Yeah.
So like those, you said most of them was from article or you did inside it?
This was just articles.
So on this article, was there any specific difference or like
They did not specify what level. I think it was just many of them were referred to accountants, accountants generally. I will say, now that we're kind of on accountants, I can kind of expand on this a little more. One of the recommendations I did find in one article is that, and I believe this is true for just like any of the occupations that I was as will be replaced. It's just a matter of upskilling. At some point, people's jobs are gonna, that are automatable to a high extent, are gonna transition from doing that job to just managing the task. So, just upskilling yourself, either do like programs like this, or like by yourself doing, I don't know, you get courses or watching YouTube. It is something that is a recommendation for just anybody who wants to do like it's
Feels a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah.